Trae, who are you and what do you do?
I'm Trae Crowder. I'm a stand-up comedian and internet pot stirrer from Salina, Tennessee.
Who was your first celebrity crush?
Oh, man. Britney Spears, probably.
You can only eat one food for the rest of your life. What's it gonna be?
Probably pizza. I don't get tired of pizza, I don't think. But I also don't eat it every day for the rest of my life as a general rule, so I guess we'd have to find out.
Who's your dream guest for your podcast?
Dream guest for my podcast. Let's see. I don't know. Somebody who would never ever do my podcast. So like Kendrick Lamar or J. Cole, somebody like that.
What's the weirdest thing that you've Googled recently?
Because of a dumb thing that my podcast co-host said, I Googled, do horses turn green and die? They don't, by the way. I mean, though they die. I mean, there's not a thing that makes a horse turn green and then die, which is what he said happened, but he's an idiot.
How do you deal with stage fright?
Stage fright? Well, I mean, they got pills for that if it's bad enough, but pills and or whiskey are just actually really time. You do it long enough and you should get over that eventually.
What's the most challenging part about being a comedian?
Coming up with new and funny stuff incessantly. Being a comedian now means also doing stuff on social media and podcasts, whatever. And it's like there's a voracious content machine that's never satiated, and it's hard to keep it satisfied.
Have you ever been heckled?
Oh yeah, I've been heckled plenty of times. That's just part of the territory,
You said you believe in aliens. What other conspiracy theories do you believe in? Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster?
No, I mean, I don't even consider aliens a conspiracy theory. To me, it's like mathematically almost a certainty. With the size of the universe, they have to exist somewhere. They may not be flying around, Tucson, but I think they're somewhere out there. But I think that's about the only. I have a low rent conspiracy theory. I think that Peloton purposefully calibrates all of their bikes to a lower level to make it easier when they put them in hotel rooms. So people stay in hotels, use the Peloton, they think, wow, I'm really good at this. Then they buy it and it's actually way harder than they thought it was. So that's my own personal low stakes conspiracy theory.
Why do you hate dogs?
I hate dogs. Okay, I never said I don't hate dogs. This is what happens. I just prefer cat. I'm a cat person. I thought that used to be okay to be a cat person. We knew there was dog people and there was cat people, and that was fine. But now, if you just prefer cats, that becomes you hate dogs. And I think it's maybe because a lot of people who prefer dogs just be like, "God, I hate cats." But like, you have to be a psychopath to say that about dogs in public because people crucify you because they're insane about dogs. But they're fine. They're fine.
Why do you like them less than cats?
I like cat. Dogs are like, I don't like how subservient and needy and everything they are. I like that cats are kind of assholes and they don't give a shit about what a human thing. Like dogs are very like, oh, please love me. And cats are just like, I don't give a fuck what you do. And I respect that more.
What household chore are you in charge of?
Pretty classic man stuff, I guess. Like, the trash is definitely, like, if I don't take the trash out, it doesn't get taken out. Although I have sons who are becoming teenagers, so I'm about to offload everything I can onto them.
What's the biggest learning experience you've had?
Oh my God. I mean, that's a huge question. Biggest learning experience, like, ever? On a personal level, having to come to terms with the fact in my 20s that I'm actually not as incandescently brilliant as I grew up thinking I was. I grew up thinking I was like Good Will Hunting because I was in a real small town with not a lot of smart people. Standard was lower. Moved out there and realized I'm just half of a dumbass. So, but that was hard for me to work through, but it's a good thing that I did.
Are you more of an introvert or extrovert?
Introvert for sure, which is maybe, I was gonna say it's weird for a comedian, but I think it's probably at least 50-50. A lot of comedians, it's a performance. You sort of flip a switch to go into comedian mode, and then off stage, I'm definitely not the type of comedian that's always on. I'm more of an introvert and kind of socially awkward, really.
What's your favorite Southern food?
Favorite Southern food? I mean, I like just about all like Southern soul food cooking, but I guess if you can, I mean, fried chicken's become just ubiquitous, but I still consider it a staple, and it'd be hard for me to put anything above that, I think. Or catfish, fried catfish, that's a good one too.
Best comedy special you've ever seen?
The most impactful, so I still consider it the best, is Bigger and Blacker by Chris Rock. Came out when I was 12, and I watched it with my dad, who was a single father, and that's the special. It's got all the stuff about, all daddy gets is the big piece of chicken, and my dad really loved that, and that was like literally the day that I decided I wanted to, try to be a comedian one day. So I always got to go with that one.
You've talked about liquid courage. What's your poison?
When I was younger, it was whiskey, but then various people in my life heavily encouraged me to stop with whiskey in particular, because it, can have a different kind of, just basically kind of more of a dickhead. So now also, because, my weight fluctuates up and down, I go with like vodka, because that's the one you can tell yourself you can like still be like a skinny bitch and drink, but that's not really true, but I tell myself that lie.
What's the dumbest thing you've ever done drunk?
Oh, God. Probably made a bunch of like off-colored jokes at a football game while sitting in the visitor section, like being a fan of the opposite team and just heckling all the fans of the other team around me. It's an absolute miracle that I didn't get either put in the ER or the jail that night, because you just shouldn't do that. If you're amongst your own fans, go crazy, but in enemy territory like that, you shouldn't do it, and I did. That was a bad idea. They were Baltimore Ravens fans too, so particularly bad choice.
What was the first joke you ever wrote?
Ever, I don't know, but the first joke I ever told on stage, that I ever said in a stand-up set, the first time I ever did it was, I actually don't remember the first two lines, but the last line is the punchline. So I was talking about how redneck of a town I'm from, and I said, I like this, I'm like this, and then I said, my mama cooks the best crystal meth you ever had in your life. That was the first joke I ever told.
Out of all of your jokes, which one is your favorite?
Well, that changes all the time. I mean, I could have a joke that I love, but if it becomes part of the act, and I do it for a year and a half, the shine is going to wear off and I'm going to get tired of it, which is what happens. So right now, it's a newer bit that I have about how I'm not into ancestry like a lot of white people are, because my family's been in the South for generations. So there's a lot of, assumed crimes against humanity in my ancestry, so I just, skip that. But in a year or less, that will be a different answer.
If you weren't a comedian, what would you be doing?
Well, my day job when I started stand-up, I worked for the U.S. Department of Energy, and I would say if it hadn't worked out in comedy, I would have just kept doing that. But right now, in particular, I probably would have been, doged out of that job. I probably would have been excised. So I don't know, panhandling. Yeah, the only other thing I could ever really have seen myself doing was something in academia, education.
How did you get the stage name, The Liberal Redneck?
Just gave it to myself. But also, it's just true. I mean, you can't tell from the accent, from a very redneck background, and as far as my politics go, they are liberals, so it's just an honest assessment of who I am. But I called myself that on the internet because I knew that people would see that and be like, what's that about? And it worked.
Favorite curse word?
That also depends on the situation. Like, I like goddamn a lot, 'cause I've always been a big blasphemer, so I guess I'll go with that one.
What's one word you can't pronounce correctly?
Well, I mean, some people would say a bunch of them, or at least I don't say them correctly. I've only recently learned, and even now I'm like, is that right? That cavernous, like a big cavernous space. I said cavernous my whole life until like 2 weeks ago, and my wife was like, "What?" So that.
It sounds like you're a fan of 90 Day Fiancé. What 5 words would be on your dating profile?
5 words on my dating profile. I've been married for 15 years, so if I had to start a dating profile, it would probably be like, I don't know what. Something about how ignorant and not ready for it I am. I can't come up with 5. I can't do that math quickly enough in my head.
What's a moment in your career you're especially proud of?
I would say just the beginning of it, meaning like going viral in the first place and sort of making the leap from wanting to be a professional comedian to becoming one, because that's that's the biggest thing in my opinion, is making that jump at all. And then once you do that, then there's years and years of further work, but that's where it all kind of starts. So I'd say that.
If you could do a comedy special anywhere in the world, where would it be?
If I could make it look right in the right venue and look like a legit comedy special, which I don't know that I could there, I would like to do one in Cookeville, Tennessee, which is where I went to college. And it's basically a small town, but it's also kind of where I'm from. And that would be very fun, but there's no other options where I'm from to do one. So I'd like to give that a shot.
What was your first big break in the comedy world?
My first big break was going viral with internet videos I made, and that led immediately to like a book deal and a TV deal and all that stuff, and then it just went from there. My first big appearance or whatever was on Real Time with Bill Maher the Friday after the 2016 election, which was very surreal.
How do you balance being political in your comedy while keeping it funny?
I think you can make almost anything funny if you put jokes in it. The important thing is I don't just get up there and just proselytize or soapbox about what my opinions are. If I'm talking about anything politically related, there's also jokes attached to it. And I do plenty of material that has nothing to do with politics too, so I do try to strike a balance.
Have you ever faced any backlash for a joke or a routine?
If you count internet stuff, yeah, it happens all the time. I get all kinds of trolls and haters and nasty DMs and stuff. In person, a minor league hockey player once tried to fight a comedian friend of mine because he was too drunk to realize that guy wasn't me. So he was mad at me for something that I said, but mistook my friend for me and tried to fight him instead. I didn't even know it happened until later.
Favorite Southern slang?
Favorite Southern slang? Let's see. Don't know shit from apple butter is a good one. I was reminded of that one last night. But there's a ton of them, but I guess I'll just go with that one for now.
What does that mean?
Just somebody's a dumbass. They don't know shit from apple butter. If you say a person don't know shit from apple butter, apple butter and shit could be sort of similar if you're an idiot, if you just see it. Anyway, yeah.
What's one secret your wife would be furious if you shared right now?
Trying to get me in trouble. She told me to start squeegeeing the bottom of our shower because I guess it's not level or whatever, and I already know that I'm not going to do that. So, but of course I told her that I would. But yeah, that ain't happening.
Do you believe in ghosts?
Ghosts? No, I don't believe in ghosts. I would. Even the logistics of it don't really make sense to me, even if there is an afterlife and everything, and I don't know what most of them are doing most of the time. And if it's only ever little weird Civil War children or mental asylum ghosts, then why? What are all the other dead people doing? So no, I don't.
If you could time travel, would you go to the past or the future?
Well, I'm white, so I have the option of going to the past, but I've always been really into sci-fi and that type of shit. So my whole life, I definitely would have said the future. Right now, I'm growing ever more concerned that the future is going to be an abject nightmare, but I still would, out of curiosity, want to check it out.
What's the most ridiculous thing you've ever spent money on?
I once received in the mail from my past drunken self a Joe Diffie t-shirt. Joe Diffie was a 90s country icon, sang the song John Deere Green and Pickup Man and a bunch of other ones. And like, I didn't even remember having ordered it, and it showed up, and I realized that I got drunk and ordered myself a Joe Diffie shirt that I was too fat to wear, by the way. So,
What's your favorite time of day?
my favorite time of day is either twilight or like late, but not crazy late, so like midnight-ish, kind of a night owl.
What's your idea of a perfect date?
A perfect date? Let's see. For me, I like to go and just sit at like a bar that I like, but is not like trendy or packed with people. I mean, it could be a dive, but it doesn't have to be a dive. Someplace with good food, and you just like sit there and have a couple drinks and talk without other shit going on.
What's one vice you wish you could give up?
Cheese, sugar, a bunch of food stuff. Anything that makes you fat, that would be that. It's got me by the horn.
What's a cause that's important to you?
A cause that's important to me. I mean, there's a lot of things that I think that I care about. I think that income inequality, I guess, like with it's getting out of hand in this country, and something needs to be done about that first and foremost. And also, it'd be cool if the scientists could crack that whole cancer thing eventually.
What's the best compliment you've ever received?
I don't know about the best compliment ever, but like as a dude, as a comedian, I'll get compliments about my actor material or whatever, but as just a person, it almost never happens, like with most guys. So I think I will go to my grave remembering I was at Dodger Stadium last year, and as the crowd was filing out, I'm going this way, and this gay dude coming this way put his hand on my shoulder and told me my eyes were beautiful. And I think about that all the time.
When do you feel the most inspired?
I think I feel the most inspired when I watch someone else's new, very good, either full comedy special or even just like a short set on YouTube or something.
Sweet or savory?
Savory. Despite being a fat kid, I didn't used to have much of a sweet tooth, but then during the pandemic, like a lot of people, I got into baking. And so I've developed more of an affinity for sweets, but always, if I have to pick one, I'm definitely more of a savory guy.
What song can you listen to on repeat?
That also I think the greatest song of all time across all genres is Return of the Mac by Mark Morrison. So I'll say that song.
What inspired Trash Daddy?
But just everything, just living my life. I talk about having kids in there and living in Los Angeles and being in Hollywood, and also just what's going on in the country and everything. So just, my existence.
What's one thing people don't know about you?
I don't know. I try to be a pretty open book. I think that, I like a bunch of different types of music, but there's definitely songs and musicians and stuff that I listen to that I think would probably surprise people, like The National, but also like Viking metal and, everything in between.
Sneakers or flip-flops?
I prefer flip-flops because I'm my feet run hot. But like as I get older, I feel weirder and weirder about wearing flip-flops in public. So.
Vintage or new?
Whatever. I don't care. I guess I have no like style or aesthetic or anything like that whatsoever. I would live a very Spartan existence without my wife around, so I don't. Either way is fine with me.
What are 3 things you can't live without?
Well, my children, my wife and family, air, water, food, that type of thing. But aside from those, like creature comforts that I really like, some kind of video game apparatus, something that I can read on. And like everybody else now, my phone.
5 hours in traffic or 5 hours on hold?
Oh my God. Traffic, because if mean, I guess you could do this on hold too, but in traffic, I could put on an audiobook or a podcast or something. On hold, you always think it might be about to end. So like with traffic, you kind of have an idea. So I guess I'll go with traffic, but it does suck.
Window or aisle seat?
Used to be window, recently changed to aisle. I think also aging, I gotta like get up to pee more or whatever. But I used to like the window just so I could be unbothered, but now I'm an aisle person.
Morning person or night owl?
Oh God, night owl. I hate the morning time with a flaming passion.
What was your best subject in high school?
I was a smart kid in my school, which again that's not impressive if you know anything about my school, but I was pretty good at all of them. I think my favorite was English, anything with words. I've always been a words person.
What was your worst subject in high school?
Math, again, I was still pretty good at math, but it was definitely the worst one though.
Tennessee or Alabama? Who are you rooting for?
Tennessee, I'm from Tennessee. I hate Alabama. I used to have a bit about how I would so much prefer my sons be gay than be Alabama fans. So I mean, yeah, Tennessee. I want only the worst things for Alabama. Tennessee. My oldest son's middle name is Neyland, which is the stadium that the Vols play in. So definitely Tennessee.
What's the most adventurous thing you've done in your life?
I mean, some people, being where I'm from and everything, I think people there would say it's just doing comedy and moving to the godless West, you know, just living in Los Angeles, period, or doing this whole crazy stuff. More traditionally, no, I don't know. I mean, it is that, I think.
How would you define yourself in 3 words?
Right now, neurotic, anxious, but empathetic. So,
What's inspiring you in life right now?
let's see, what's inspiring me right now? A lot of stuff I'm seeing, a lot of Instagram, like comedy and stuff. People have gotten really good at making stuff specifically for the internet that's actually good. And I still find that hard to do. So, you know, that.
You worked at the Department of Energy for 6 years. What energizes you?
Not that job. I mean, that was a office office room, you know, type job, but was not energizing. What energizes me is like just before going on stage at like a big show or any show really, as long as it's not like, you know, there's no one in the crowd or whatever.
Favorite sports teams?
The Tennessee Volunteers, the Memphis Grizzlies, now the Los Angeles Dodgers, and believe it or not, the Las Vegas Raiders, which has been a lifelong affliction.
Least favorite sports teams?
The Alabama Crimson Tide, the Kansas City Chiefs, the New York Yankees. Yeah, we'll go with those for now. I mean, also I like the Broncos, the Colts, the Jags. There's a bunch of them. But Florida, at University of Florida, who just won the national championship at basketball, kill me.
What's the best piece of advice you've received?
I don't know if it's the best piece of advice, but Brad Williams, the comedian, when I was an MC in Knoxville, Tennessee, and he was the headliner, told me that he said, you know, to get good where you're from before you try to make the leap to either New York or LA, which some people think the opposite of that is true, but I'm a big believer in that because I think if you come to a place like here or New York as a comedian without being at least somewhat ready for it, it'll just chew you up and spit you out. So that was good advice, I think.
What's your pet peeve?
Dunning-Kruger stuff, people that are clearly dumb, but not only do they not know they're dumb, they think they're smart. Nothing drives me more insane than that.
What terrifies you to death?
Death, actual death. I don't know as I grow increasingly older, I only grow increasingly more terrified of the prospect of death. So probably gonna have to go to therapy or something for that soon.
You're going out to celebrate? What are you ordering?
Probably so I can lie to myself about being classy, I'll get like a martini or something. For food, some kind of big steak, maybe a prime rib or ribeye, something like that. Maybe surf and turf.
What's something you notice about someone when you first meet them?
I think you could tell pretty quickly whether someone's generally just a nice person or not versus being a dick. And that is, important to me. If I get the vibe that someone's a dick, I just then try to stay away from that person.
What's your biggest regret?
I wouldn't necessarily even change anything about how things have gone, but even though I knew I wanted to do stand-up from when I was a kid, I didn't start stand-up till I was 24. And I think if I could go back and change that, I think that I would, meaning I would have started at like 18 or 19 or something. But at the same time, I don't really know that it would have even made that much of a difference.
What's heavily played on your playlist right now?
Right now, there's a song called What It Is by Doechii that I can't get out of my head for whatever reason. And then I've already forgotten the name of it. Some weird instrumental song with a fiddle in it that I found on a Spotify radio station. I literally can't remember the name of it, but it's at the bottom of my playlist right now.
What's your favorite board game?
Favorite board game? We play a lot of board games. Ticket to Ride. It's a train board game. I play with my wife and kids. I'll go with that one. That's a good one.
What's your guilty pleasure?
Lately, because I have a Peloton, there's been a lot of like music that I would not have probably listened to that I find myself like not being able to like Bon Jovi and Def Leppard and stuff like that. Like old kind of like dad rock and shit.
Magic lamp plus a genie. What are your 3 wishes?
To be able to get my cheese addiction under control. Now, I mean, I guess this would cover that. A long and healthy life, prosperity for my family, and then to either get a movie or a TV show made. I'd have to think about which one.
Build us your perfect sandwich.
I used to always say it's like I didn't want a sandwich if at least 3 different kinds of animal hadn't died to make it, but now some kind of Italian thing with any assortment of Italian cured meats, so like ham, salami, capicola, that type of stuff, soppressata, whatever you got, provolone cheese, tomatoes, red onions, black olives, maybe banana peppers, it depends, and then mayonnaise on it. I used to try to fancy it up with some of the condiments, but now I find mayonnaise hard to beat.
How do you start your day?
Angrily, with much resistance. But no, the first thing I get up, I work out is the first thing I do when I get up in the morning.
What's your favorite holiday?
Christmas, big Christmas person, especially since I have children and everything. We spend Christmas at my in-laws back in Tennessee, my wife's family, and her sisters all have kids, same age as my kids, and we make gingerbread houses and all this very wholesome Hallmark Channel family shit that I never really had growing up, so I love it.
If you could switch lives with one person for a day, who would it be?
One of these tech billionaire guys, because I just have to know what they really have going on, how much actual Illuminati shit is happening.
What's one thing you've always wanted to try, but have been too scared to do?
I wouldn't even say that I've always wanted to try it, but like I'm afraid of heights, so like skydiving and bungee jumping and that type of thing, I don't think is ever gonna get checked off the old list.
What's the one thing you wish you knew at age 19?
That, like, as I sort of mentioned earlier, that I was not nearly as smart as I thought I was at age 19.
Besides your phone or wallet, what are a couple of must-have items?
like on my person every day. I mean, I only keep stuff in my pockets, so it's either there's phone, wallet, keys. I'll say a pair of headphones, like a pair of Bluetooth headphones, in case I end up in traffic or a waiting room and want to listen to something.
What's something you can't do?
Oh, there's so much stuff I can't do. I can't even go jogging, apparently. I tried to start recently, and I got shin splints, and I walked with a limp for 2 weeks. So how much time you got?
Where was the best vacation you've ever taken?
My family and I took a trip up the Central California coast last year that I thought was lovely. I'd only ever been on the 5 between San Francisco and LA, which is not super impressive. I kind of didn't realize how beautiful the middle part of this state is.
What's something you always travel with?
Because I'm a traveling comedian, I've got a backpack that I take everywhere that's got all kinds of stuff in it. Everything from contacts to the right kind of deodorant to chargers. I feel like I've got it down to a science.
Favorite dessert?
Favorite dessert is hard. I used to always just say cheesecake, but as I said, I've got more of a sweet tooth now. I switch it up a little more, so it kind of just depends on the day.
Favorite snack?
Chips. Chips, usually any kind of cheesy chip, Doritos, Cheetos, Harvest Cheddar Sun chips. You can put all those together. That's the holy trinity. But yeah, that.
Best place to eat in LA?
I'm not gonna say it's the best place to eat in LA, but me and some of my comedian buddies love to go to Smokehouse in Burbank every so often, which is this really old steakhouse. It's right across from Warner Brothers Studios. Like Johnny Carson used to get drunk there after the Tonight Show and shit. So it's I like that place a lot.
Best place to eat in Salina, Tennessee?
Salina, Tennessee.
Salina.
Well, you got 2 choices. No, there's 3. There's a Mexican restaurant, there's Ollie's Soul Food, and there's One Stop Barbecue. And I legitimately think that all 3 of those places are actually really good. So it depends on what you're hankering for.
What's a movie that made you cry?
Now, it could be, especially if I'm on a plane. What did I just watch? Oh, I was having trouble not crying at the end of Star Wars Rogue One on an airplane the other day. Which is that shouldn't happen. I mean, they try to tug on your heartstrings with it, but I've seen the movie before. I know what happens. But it's just when Donnie Yen walks out there talking about the Force is one with him in the middle of that field, and then, flip the switch and everybody's shooting at him, gets me every time.
What's your favorite movie of the last 5 years?
Oh, man. 5 years. I've seen a lot of good ones, for sure, but I don't even know. It's hard for me to say, because there's just too many good ones. I like a lot of popcorn movies, Deadpool and Wolverine, or the superhero movies and stuff. But then also I like Jason Reitman's Saturday Night that I saw recently. I like a lot of things.
What's the one talent you wish you had?
Like a musical ear. I've tried to I've begun and stopped learning guitar countless times in my life, and I'm not terrible at it, but I have enough musician friends to know that you can have an ear for that, and I don't, but I'd like to.
What's your favorite exercise?
Lifting weights, probably. It's the one where you can bro out the most, put on some heavy metal music, whatever, make yourself feel like a man, which is good after you've been riding a stationary bike to do a leap of songs for 20 minutes.
What's your favorite band?
That changes a lot too. Right now, I mentioned the National earlier. I'm a depressive white guy millennial, so I love the National, but I also love Sturgill Simpson, Tyler Childers, Jason Isbell are kind of my back home guys.
What's something you don't want to be doing in 10 years?
Not that long ago, I would have said making internet videos from the driver's seat of my Jeep, but I don't know how I've kind of gotten on board with that. So I just hope I have progressed, just not literally the exact same thing I'm doing right now, just because progression is good.
What's the cutest thing on planet Earth?
Like two little kittens tussling with each other.
What's the best thing that's happened this year?
A good thing has happened this year. The Kansas City Chiefs getting dog walked in the Super Bowl. Loved it. I don't even like the Eagles, but that was very cathartic.
Which movie makes you laugh the hardest?
I've always said my all-time favorite comedy is Dumb and Dumber. It came out when I was a kid, perfect age. I still love it. So it'd be hard for me to put much over that. No one comes to mind. Tropic Thunder is a more, modern era favorite.
What do you usually eat for dinner?
Bunch of different stuff. Like I said, I'm a fat kid, and I like to cook and everything too. So I switch it up. We had roasted chicken last night and like jalapeno mac and cheese the night before, and I'm gonna do quesadillas later, I think. So it varies.
What do you usually eat for lunch?
Lunch is usually more simple. It's whatever I got in the fridge. Like make a sandwich or some tuna or something like that, because I'm usually more on the run during the day. I don't have as much time.
What do you usually eat for breakfast?
Not shit. I've never been a breakfast eater my whole life, which makes the whole like fat kid thing even more damning, because I'm cramming all that into fewer meals than most people eat.
What's your favorite thing in the world?
Peace and quiet. Yeah, I think that. Silence after a cacophony.
What are 3 words to describe living in Los Angeles?
Hectic, exhausting, but also thrilling.
Do you like surprises?
Yeah, I love surprises. My wife hates surprises, and she can't ever keep a surprise from me, even though she knows that I like them. But yeah, I like surprises.
What's one thing you had to learn the hard way?
I know this keeps coming up, but it really is the answer, that I was not a like preternatural genius like I thought I was. I had to learn that the hard way in my 20s.
What's something you're tired of?
Just being tired. I went to a sleep specialist recently. I've recently started a CPAP machine, so I sleep with a bane mask every night, and it really sucks. So I'm trying to work through that. So yeah, I'm just tired of being tired.
Who do you turn to when you're sad?
Who do I turn to when I'm sad? DMX. Fires me up.
What's a trend you would like to see disappear forever?
There's a lot of like social media stuff that I don't really get. A lot of like things that are popular that I don't understand. But I think sort of ginned up online drama where people all talk a bunch of shit and just, start drama with each other for no reason. It's like, as a person who does stuff for the internet, I want no part of any of that.
What did you want to do with your life at the age of 12?
I was 12 when Bigger and Blacker came out, which I mentioned earlier. So stand-up comedy.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited about life are you right now?
I'd say 7, 8. I'm pretty excited. I feel pretty good about the prospects. Well, for my future, if you include like the world, then I don't know that changed. I'd have to take a few points off of that, because there's also a fair amount of worry involved.
Describe yourself in a hashtag.
Oh, hashtag rabble rouser.
If you could do a love scene with anyone, who would it be?
My wife ain't ever gonna watch this, so she doesn't watch things that I do. But God, I don't know. I feel weird. Let's see. Literally any successful and competent actress who would be willing to do that would be good with me. Beggars can't be choosers.
If your life were a musical, what would the marquee say?
Something with hillbilly in it, but I don't know what. I can't use elegy, obviously. That's been done, so I have to figure out something else.
What's your wake-up ritual?
I gradually come to over the course of at least 15 to 20 minutes, and I lay there, sometimes slapping myself to try to shake the sleep off. And then I'll try to check some emails or something on my phone and then drag myself out of the grave that is my bed and then brush my teeth, take a pre-workout, head out to my garage where my exercise stuff is.
What's your go-to-bed ritual?
I get up off the couch, head to the bedroom, make a detour into the kitchen where I stand in the dark eating Girl Scout cookies over the sink for 15, 20 minutes. Well, not that long. Doesn't take me that long. 3 to 5 minutes. Then I go lay down. I'll read for a minute and also wallow in pain and regret for having eaten all those Girl Scout cookies right before going to sleep. And then finally drift off and let the darkness take me.
What's the biggest surprise you've had?
Morgan Freeman once said that I was his favorite comedian. I did not see that coming. That was very cool.
Who do you want to write your obituary?
I'll say my boy Thompson, my best friend from growing up. I'd give him the job.
What's one ingredient you put in everything?
Garlic or MSG. MSG got a bad rap in the 80s. People think it like causes headaches or something. It doesn't. That was some kind of weird anti-Asian propaganda or something. But like MSG is fire, makes everything better.
What 3 people, living or dead, would you like to make dinner for?
Make dinner for? Let's see, Steve McNair. My dad, probably should have said my dad before Steve McNair, but my head went to famous people. But I'll say my dad, Steve McNair, and then Levon Helm. Those are the first 3 people that come to mind.
What's your biggest fear in life?
I guess since the question is in life, I guess I can't say death. So I'll say just losing everything. I grew up from a poor family. I don't have any kind of safety net or nothing. So if it all falls apart, I don't know what, I'll have to figure that out, and I don't want to have to.
What's your current TV obsession?
The Pit, the medical drama on HBO. I cannot get enough of that damn show for some reason. I've never even been a big medical show person, but I'm just hooked on it.
Favorite app?
Reddit. not something I'm proud of. Go back to the guilty pleasure question. Reddit is definitely one of them. Kind of addicted to it.
Favorite comedian?
Right now, Shane Gillis, I think, is probably, I'd say I think that Shane Gillis is the funniest comedian currently working. All time, my favorite is and will always be Chris Rock.
Secret talent?
I'm not that good at it, but I can play the ukulele a little bit. I played a clip of me playing the ukulele on my podcast recently, and people were like, holy shit, where did that come from? But that's only because they didn't know I could do it at all.
A superpower you would want?
This is how much of a fat kid I am. When I was a child, I swear to God, I used to say that if I could have any superpower, what I would give myself is the ability to conjure any food I want, but also have that food not give me any calories when I ate it. Being able to eat food and taste it without intaking any calories. That's what I used to want to do as a kid. That's not even like a superpower. That's just, it would be, but it's not cool. It's just kind of sad, really. But yeah, that's what my answer always used to be. But I guess now, I don't know, telekinesis.
Best advice you'd give your teenage self?
Assuming that I can't change anything, like, my dad later died of cancer. If there's something I could do about that, I would. But assuming that that's out the window and it's just more general stuff, I would tell him, like, you have the right idea about what you want to do in life, but it's going to be harder than you think it is. And you're not as much a hot shit as you think you are either.
Who is not funny?
Elon Musk. He does. He tries to be. He thinks he's funny, and he's very not. So that's a legitimate answer.
What would you like to be remembered for?
I guess showing people another side of the South or whatever, any kind of, any sort of legacy about like how, you can be at least somewhat intelligent and be from the South at the same time.
How do you define beauty?
I mean, I don't know. It's like an art thing. You know it when you see it. I feel like you don't have to. I don't think you have to like consider beauty. You're like struck by it, so it just happens to you.
What do you love most about yourself?
I get stuff done even if I don't feel like it, or even if something bad happens or whatever. I'm resilient and persistent.
Best way to rest or decompress?
I like to play video games with my middle school boys. We play like, you know, computer and Xbox games and stuff together, and that's fun.
If your life were a song, what would the title be?
Go West, Young Man. I guess that might already be a song. Sounds like one. It's certainly a thing, but I'll steal it.
If you could master one instrument, what would it be?
Cliche answer, but well, actually, no. I've heard that if you're good at piano, then usually you can be good at other instruments. So actually, I'll say if I could snap my fingers and become the master of any instrument, it would be piano.
If you had a tattoo, where would it be?
Probably just here, outside my bicep, probably. Maybe back shoulder. That's about it.
Do you prefer talking on the phone or texting?
Oh, texting by a mile. I don't even like. I mentioned Steve McNair and my dad earlier. I've said before, like, my dad could call me on the phone from beyond the grave and patch in legendary Titans quarterback Steve McNair, and within like 6 to 7 minutes, I'd be like, well, I need to let y'all go. So, texting.
What's your spirit animal?
Either a possum or a raccoon, some kind of like trash critter.
Best gift you've ever received?
Oh man, I don't know. That's hard. I mean, the most out of nowhere gift, a random person sent me a handmade ukulele at one time out of nowhere, and then I learned to play it because I felt bad. So that like led to a new skill. So I guess I'll go with that.
You've won the lottery. What are you doing?
Disappearing, I think. You say lottery, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love doing comedy and all that, but if I had like mega millions money, I would just try to vanish with the people closest to me.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
It's Getting Jiggy With It by Will Smith. That's my go-to karaoke song. I made it to the finals of a karaoke competition in Cookeville, Tennessee. Not bragging, doing Will Smith songs once. So yeah.
What's the weirdest word in the English language?
The weirdest word in the English language? Man, I don't know. That's what, discombobulate? That sounds weird.
What's your favorite fast food order?
Taco Bell for nachos Bel Grande every time, and then after that I'll mix it up with some, maybe a Doritos Locos taco, maybe a beefy 5-layer burrito, something like that. But Taco Bell's my fast food champion for sure.
Stairs or elevator?
If I'm going down, stairs. If I'm going up very far at all, elevator.
Summer or winter?
Summer. I'm from the South and live in Southern California. I have no tolerance for the cold, no use for it either.
A dessert you don't like?
Does licorice count as a dessert? I've always thought licorice was an elaborate prank that like the Dutch or whoever came up with it are playing on the rest of the world.
A skill you're working on mastering?
Well, I'm not really currently working on mastering it, but the only thing is trying to get stronger, working out, and also, like I mentioned, playing the ukulele, trying to get better at that. But I don't know that I expect to master either of those.
Best thing to happen to you today?
So we started this at 10, so I just woke up and came here. So this is the best thing that's happened to me today. I made it here.
Worst thing to happen to you today?
Just sitting in the stupid GPS doing the whole like, get off the freeway just to get right back on it because somehow we calculate that saves you 2 minutes when I don't believe that it does at all, because you just piss everybody off and cut across traffic and all this stupid shit. Just that, all that.
Favorite smell?
Favorite smell? Like sauteing like garlic and onions and stuff, or like the beginning of a sauce or something like that.
If you made a documentary, what would it be about?
Probably about what happened to my town and places like it in the 90s, which is to say, like, NAFTA happened, the factories left, and Big Pharma introduced Oxycontin at the same time. And I'd get into all that.
What's your secret to success?
You just got to do it. Whatever the thing is, people always want to know, like, the secret or whatever, but the only real answer is that you just have to actually do it and then just keep doing it.
Last piece of content you consumed that made you cry?
Star Wars Rogue One, I think, weirdly. Or, like I saw one of those videos of like a boy being reunited with his cat on, on the internet last night. Like that type of thing always gets me.
How you know you're in love?
When you're like you've fallen in love when it's like you can't even be around the person without feeling like, excitement or butterflies or whatever. And, it's like electric and sparks fly and all that. But, it's like long-term, like marital love when you can just be yourself in front of that person and live with them and, start a family together and do shit that annoys each other, but know that it doesn't really matter in the long run and that type of thing.
What are you most excited about at this time in your life?
I'm currently writing a new act because my special Trash Daddy just came out, and that's always an exciting time, is figuring out what the new material is.
Your go-to for having a good laugh?
I think that there's this organization, whatever you want to call them, called channel called Don't Tell Comedy, and they do like short form comedy sets, like 8 to 10 minutes, and I think they do a really good job and put out good stuff.
What's next for Trae Crowder?
Hopefully getting something made, and by something I mean like I've written a movie script, I'm pitching TV shows. I'm always doing all that. So whichever one of those I can get over the finish line first is what I hope is the next thing. And I'm going to continue to do stand-up and put it out and write more of it and keep going.
What's your rating of The Sit?
Oh, I rated a 10 out of 10. Easy. Well, that's going to cost you a couple points probably. I don't know what that was about.